Hi everybody, this is Miss Elkins. I'm going to help you fill out your translations rules cheat sheet. Every time you move something around on the coordinate plane, it's considered to be a translation of some sort, and there are specific translations that we've learned about so far in this unit. So this is going to be your cheat sheet. Please fill it out completely. You might be able to use it on your test or somewhere else important. So follow along with me. Let's first talk about reflections. Reflection is a mirror image, and it can either be, for our purposes, across the x-axis or across the y-axis. The rule for a mirror image across the x-axis is this: xy becomes x negative y. Okay? And for across the y-axis, the rule is this: xy becomes negative xy. So the change is, for across the x-axis, the change is to the y. If it's positive, it'll become negative. If it starts as negative, then it'll turn positive. Same thing is, the opposite is true of the y-axis. The thing that changes is the x-coordinate. If the x-coordinate is positive, it will change to negative. If the x-coordinate starts out as negative, it'll change to positive. All right, just keep those rules handy and that'll help you remember it. Translations rules. Translations rules typically are where we slide a figure around on the coordinate plane, but doesn't change direction or anything. It just slides left, right, or up and down. So if the x values change, and an addition would be moving it to the right. So if you add to the x value, that moves it right. If you subtract from the x value, it moves to the left, just like on a number line, okay? And think of the y-axis as an up and down number line. Adding moves you up, where subtracting moves you down, or moves the figure down, okay? So those are pretty easy to remember, especially if you can visualize it. Rotations rules. These are the ones that probably give me the most trouble trying to remember them. But there's technically only 3 rules. We're going to write down a bunch of rules, but then we'll realize in just a minute that they are overlapping. So if you are doing a 90-degree clockwise rotation, that from xy changes to y negative x. So the x value and the y value flip around, and the x value becomes its opposite. If it started negative, it becomes positive. If it started positive, it becomes negative. For 180-degree clockwise rotation, that rule is negative x, negative y. In other words, you would just change its sign to the opposite sign. If you start out with negative 5, it would, and it rotates 180 degrees clockwise, it's going to become positive 5, positive 5. So that's just negative y, or negative x, negative y. Pretty easy rule to remember. And then if you have a 270-degree clockwise rotation, that rule is negative y, x. The x and y coordinates will switch places, and the y will become its opposite. If it started out negative, it'll become positive. If it started out positive, it'll become negative. For a 90-degree counterclockwise, this is the one where we start to repeat ourselves. For a 90-degree counterclockwise move, it's the same as a 270 clockwise. It's negative y, positive x. Same thing as a 270. These two match each other, okay? And then for an 180-degree counterclockwise, again, it doesn't matter if you turn 180 degrees to the left or 180 degrees to the right, you're still going to wind up at the same place, negative x, negative y, or opposite of x, opposite of y. And then finally, I forgot to highlight that bothers me. Finally, there's 270 clockwise. 270 clockwise is the same as 90-degree clockwise. It's y, negative x. X and y flip places, and the x becomes negative. So technically there's only 3 rules to remember, as long as you remember which one is which. And then the last thing today are dilation rules. Dilation rules, if you're dilating a figure, you're multiplying it by a scale factor. And the scale factor is always going to be a number. And if that number is greater than 1, then the figure will get larger. Pretty common sense, pretty easy to remember that. Okay, and if the scale factor is less than 1, then the figure will get smaller. Okay, so that's the rule for dilations. If you're multiplying it by a scale factor of more than 1, it'll get larger. If you're multiplying it by a scale factor of less than 1, it will become smaller. So now is the time for you to go to Schoology or Edulastic through ClassLink and find the quiz that's assigned to you there. It's a 10-question quiz. You are allowed 4 chances at each question. So that means you should make a 100 because there's only 4 answer choices per question. Do not talk to your neighbors. Do not get answers from your neighbors. Simply go through and answer the questions by yourself. You may use this cheat sheet while you're doing that. Thank you for listening. Have a great day, and I will see you on Tuesday.